Recent figures show more and more women are running farms and ranches all across the Heartland. Amanda Mayfield has held a number of different jobs, but now she has decided her future is focused on raising cattle in New Mexico.
We're going to be branding, castrating, dehorning, vaccinating.
Just another day at the job for Amanda Mayfield and her fellow cowgirls on the ranch.
Danley, come get your mom.
Her granddaughter, Danley, and daughter, Erica. And there are cowboys here, their ranch hand and Erica's husband. And this morning, the cowgirls are riding just as tough in the saddle as their cowboy counterparts.
I could see her definitely staying on with the ranch. I mean, it's her passion. She loves horses and she loves the cowboy way.
Just like her daughter, Amanda Mayfield handles the cattle like an old pro today. But she took an indirect life path to get to this New Mexico cattle ranch. She grew up on a small farm.
We had cattle in a farm, not really ranching like in this capacity. My father had property south of where we lived, and he had a registered herd, but I was not really involved in it much. The horses were my thing.
Her love of horses led her to compete in horse showing competitions across the country. Later, she took it to the next level, horse racing.
I love to race ride, and I love the challenge and the excitement of winning. That's why your race ride is to win the races. And I'm pretty competitive, I guess. So that was a lot of fun. I got to see a lot of country, but my mom I sent everything home to her, all my things in the newspaper and all my win pictures and everything, and she compiled this 3-ring binder, and I decided to have it printed or scanned and put in a hardbound because I have 2 girls, and how was I going to split that book up?
And it was her mom that brought Amanda home from her horse racing career.
You know, I was 30 and I didn't want to lay off. I wanted to stay in the saddle and ride as long as I was healthy and was aggressive. You have to be extremely aggressive. And I was racing in Florida, and my mother got ill. She got emphysema. Well, she had pneumonia. I left my tack and everything in Florida, and I came home for 30 days thinking, I'm going to get Mom well. She's going to be great, and I can go back, a couple weeks here, and she wasn't really getting better. And I just couldn't leave. If I could see that she was going to be all right, I would have gone in a heartbeat.
After moving back to New Mexico, Amanda purchased a ranch and married her husband Butch, who also raises cattle.
It's a lifestyle, it's a commitment, it's a way of life. And my dad always said, well, you should have done this a long time ago,
And her horse riding skills are put to the test today, rounding up cattle for vaccinating. Trying to rope a calf, the rope catches her crossways.
Turn her!
But dusting herself off and getting back up after taking a tumble is something Amanda is familiar with.
Yes, I had 6 concussions, I think. I broke my collarbone, broke my leg. But those things, they weren't the horse's fault.
Amanda's love of the lifestyle is also instilled in her daughter Erica. At what point did you decide that this is I'm assuming, how you wanted to spend your life?
That's a good question. I really don't know when it hit me. I went to college thinking I'm getting off the ranch, I'm not coming back. And it took about a year for me in college and away from the ranch to realize that's not what I wanted. But I didn't have the option. My mom said, you're either going to school or you're not coming home. So I finished my degree. I got a degree in ag business from New Mexico State. And I went to work for the Department of Ag as a marketing specialist for a couple years, and I enjoyed it. I learned a lot. I got to meet a lot of amazing people, but I'm just not an 8-to-5 kind of person. It just was not me. So I talked to my mom, and she said that, they needed the help and that if I wanted to come home, I could. So
It's no surprise, considering that after going away to school, becoming an architect, joining a band, And becoming a jockey, Amanda's father knew where her heart was all along.
He could tell how much I loved it and how dedicated I was. Not to say that I wasted the time for my degree, but that, you know, he could tell my heart was really in it. So, he knows. See? He knows.
Back at her ranch, Amanda Mayfield has something to show me.
Let me show you something special, Sarah. This is a real special memento, if you will, that my mother made.
Oh, wow.
This is accumulation of several years of horse showing, predominantly in California. Had over 500 ribbons, and my mother, when I went away to college, she decided to sew it into this quilt. And so she cut the rosettes off of it and took all the pieces of the ribbon that had lettering that kind of told what they were won for and when, and she sewed them in on this, actually just a sheet backing, and then they backed it with the quilt.
And these go back how far? What
year?
Well,
I started showing in 1961, so I was 11, tells me, gives my age away. I was about 11 or 12 when I started showing.
Look at the are of memories. So are there one or two that really stand out to you that you can find here that?
Yes, actually, like I said, predominantly they were one in California, but when I came to New Mexico to show, well, we moved here, there was only a few county fairs and then a few sanctioned quarter horse shows. But some of the bigger quarter horse shows, like in El Paso, I think this is one here that was from they called it International, where did I see it? Here. International Livestock Show
Texas,
in El Paso. They have a big fair going on, big rodeo, and that was a kind of a big win for me.
And these are horse shows, they're youth shows?
Most of them are youth except for the quarter horse shows.
And
there you show
bending, barrel racing,
everything. English, Western, the speed events, yeah, everything. And you know, it's just years of traveling. My mother was my biggest fan and supporter, as you can only imagine, because she hauled me through. You know, I would have never had the opportunity to do this if I hadn't had the support and the backing from her. But I took it serious, real serious, and I worked hard with my animals. And I guess she felt that this was her way to reward me, but really she's in every stitch. My mom, you know, the embroidery is all different patterns and colors, which makes it, you know, adds to the uniqueness of it. But yeah, it's a treasured piece, and she shared my triumphs and my failures and the whole thing. She was with me the whole time.
Yeah, and
so
everything hand stitched.
Yep, completely. She basted the ribbons on, all of it conclusively, and then she came back and used the colored embroidery stitches and basted it all together like that. And people would come over and visit. Oh, Terry, what are you working on? She goes, well, this is this quilt for Amanda. And they would even stitch on it a few times. I mean, different people would just, oh, let me throw in a few stitches. So it's really a collective piece here.